guest, and we have a topic that I know you guys will definitely appreciate. We're talking about communication, and we're going to get a little bit into that once we start the podcast portion. But as you come in, make sure you share and invite with your friends and family. Those of you coming in on the replay, do the same. Because you really want to get this information out to as many people as possible. Trust me, every week I tell you guys it's going to be powerful, and I mean every week is going to be powerful. So come on in, make sure everything is, your sharing invites are out, and, be prepared to stay for a little bit. We're not going to be too long. So before we do that, I am going to take about 30 seconds to make sure that everything is going where it's supposed to be. We are live on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube at the same time. So stand by and I'll be right back.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, cause better relationships need better ingredients, so if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derek Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo,
We're back. Once again, I'm going to tell you again, share and invite. It means everything. So we're going to get into this in just a couple minutes here. But I did want you to know, where you can find me and the different types of things I offer, because it's about to get crazy, y'all. We'll talk about it on the other end of these few slides. So first one is, to come back here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have topics, we have guests that's going to blow your mind. We want to make sure that you don't just come and listen, but that you feel the content and that you go home and have something to chew on. Next thing is, we're not just a video podcast. We are also audio. And remember, if you guys were here last week, I said we had about 80 or 90 left before I get to 6,000 listens. I'm down to 17, y'all. So make sure you go and listen. Don't just go to listen. Find the title. It's like 57 episodes. Find the topic that you like and click on that and just listen to it. I guarantee you're going to get value out of it. So that's, choose based on what you need, and it should be all there. So do that. I got 17 more, and then we can celebrate 6,000 listens. And the next thing is, if you want to have one-on-one coaching, we have that available as well. If you go to relationshipgumbo.info or coach.relationshipgumbo.info, they both will route you there. And, sometimes we don't have all the tools, and I got you on that. Last but not least, we have apparel. We have shirts that are positive, and they speak to your mood. So find a shirt that fits your mood. Go to relationshipgumbo.info. Everything is one-stop shopping there. Go to that website and everything is there. And everything gets updated, every week as to, different things I have to offer. So next week, guys, I need y'all to make sure y'all come next week. I have a major announcement. We about to move into another direction to make sure that I take care of you guys, to make sure that you get as much as you can from me. And so we can all start to get into thinking different, thinking better, and actually healing. I have some major announcements. So make sure you come back next week, and I'm going to launch this new thing that I'm not going to tell you about, but it's coming. So what we're going to do, if you're here for the first time, because this is also an audio podcast, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for 3 seconds. We're going to start the podcast, and at the end of the podcast portion, we're going to pause for another 3 seconds, and then we're going to get out of here. If you have any extra questions, if we have time, we'll do that there. While the show is live, you can also ask questions and comment, and I implore you to do that, and we'll, if it's pertinent to the topic, I will address them as we go, because like I said, you guys are family, so I want to make sure that you feel like family, so you feel free to talk, make your comments, and do all that good stuff. I really enjoy it when you guys do that. So without further ado, we're going to get into the podcast portion, so stand by. Welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones, and I am your host. I'm a certified life coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And tonight, we have a very special guest with a very special product, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. So I'm gonna bring him up here, and we just gonna get to it. So once again, guys, welcome. All right. So we have tonight Mr. Jamie Jenkins, and before I let you introduce yourself, sir, I was introduced to Jamie has a guided. Well, I'll let him explain, but it's called Hello Black Man, right? And it's a guided journal. Well, I think the way that he, and not like I said, I'm gonna let him talk about it, but it's guided but not guided at the same time. I think that's what I read somewhere, but I'm gonna let you explain that. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself because he can do it better than I can. And then we're gonna get right into the meat of this communication conversation and how, a lot of us really need some better tools to be able to communicate better. So, Mr. Jenkins, you're up. Absolutely. Tell everybody who you are and what you do and what you got going on.
All right, my name is Jamie Jenkins. I'm happy to be here. Thanks, for the opportunity to be on the podcast. I'm here just talking about transparency and communication for our community. I think it's something that has been loosely gathered over the past decade or so, as far as what needs to happen, what actually happens in our community. I think there are some strongholds on our community from a transparency and communication standpoint, and I think that what we need is a boost. What we need is an advocate or a tool that we can actually start using to break some of these generational curses, or break some of these generational communication curses that plague us so bad. And it's something that starts very young and normally rides generations or rides people through their entire lives. And we just accept not knowing. We accept the dismemberment of communication, and it is something that it lacks fulfillment within our families. I think it starts there. I think it breeds a lack of trust. Mm-hmm. It breeds a lack of communication, basically, in our communities.
So just to piggyback off of what you just said, and then we're going to get into the actual the journals, and you guys are going to see how this is going to flow. You guys know I always have a method to my madness. Tools. The word tools is very important on this show.
Yeah.
And what a lot of us maybe realize but don't really express it is that we weren't given, or we don't know the tools on how to improve ourselves, and we rely on ourselves to try to fix a lot of the communication problems and a lot of other issues we have. And you keep repeating the cycle because you don't have any new tools. And a lot of times it ends up blowing up in your face, whether it's family, friends, whether it's relationships. And so you coming up with this guided journal, and I assume Hello Black Man was the first one, or did you come out with several at the same time?
Yeah, Hello Black Man was the absolute first journal. Basically, it started with a need. And I think a lot of great inventions happen when something needs to happen. Recently, my son, who'd been staying with his mom for the last couple of years, came to stay with me. And so I have a very different communication style. My son is used to a certain communication style, and we initially had a lot of miscommunication, a lot of misinformation from an expectation standpoint and from a reality standpoint. I guess my mom was real old school, kind of militant. And how my mom operated was, she says, okay, Jamie, take the trash out on Wednesday. And that's it. She doesn't tell me the next Wednesday. She doesn't tell me a month after. She doesn't tell me 6 months after. I know to take the trash out on Wednesday until I die. Like, that's it. Get the trash out. That's your responsibility. And so, some of that same communication style from her, I have, not saying that it's perfect or imperfect, but my expectations is that, I tell my son he has a certain task, and it gets done systematically. It gets done on schedule. And it wasn't happening. And I'm losing my mind. And he's probably losing his mind, like, okay, wait, why you didn't tell me that I had to take the trash out again? Like, I shouldn't have to tell you that. And so I said, well, maybe I need to just back up. Let me back up and punt. I said, let me back up and figure out, just to get to know him better. And I want him to know me better. I said, so maybe a long time ago, I felt like I was a very good writer, poetry, letters, and stuff like that. It's one of those skills that a lot of people had and just kind of put to the side. So I said, well, I'm going to start writing down some questions that I want him to answer about responsibility, about character, about motivation. And I said, well, I'm going to write some questions down that I can give him some answers about me, like what drives me, what direction I want to go. And it just kind of dawned on me. I said, I don't know, 99% of this stuff about my dad. So I said, wait a minute, I think I have something here. And so I just started writing questions. I'm asking him, I'm asking my dad questions, because normal conversation, certain things don't come up, what motivates you? That's nothing I've ever asked my dad. My dad is a hard worker. That's it. That's all I know. I have a long career in the automotive industry. That's all my kids know. They don't know, what motivates me to get up at 5 when they call or stay over to 9 p.m. And it started there. And I started writing questions down, and I got up to about 500 questions for the first journal. And I figured out, I said, well, people are busy every day. There's a lot going on. I want to whittle this thing down to a basic year out of a person's life. So I ended up with 52 questions. And if the question didn't intrigue me, if it did not cause me to pause, I did not include it in the journal.
Right.
I said, if a person could just look at the question and just start writing, I didn't want it at all. And so I've had some tremendous feedback on people's, thumbing through the journal, finding a random question like, wow, I don't know where to start. I said, okay, that's a question that I need.
Right.
So that's where the epitome, that's where it originated from, out of need. Getting to know myself better, getting to know my son, him getting to know me, and me getting to know my dad.
So I have a couple of I guess they would be comments, and then I have a couple questions after that about this, because what happened was, guys, I got this journal in the mail, and I didn't know what to expect up front per se. And I've had a few other guided journals that I tried for like a couple weeks. and sometimes you fall off and then you come back. And so what I saw that was different about this one was when we talk about communication, one of the biggest parts of us communicating with others and teaching others how to communicate with us is us knowing ourselves. And this journal kind of forces you to take a look at you. And that was surprising to me, because a lot of the guided journals, they'll tell you, goal this, goal that, here's your goal, write down this at this time, this is your schedule. This isn't a planner. This is like you getting to know who you are by answering. And you have to, and let me preface this with the lost art of actually writing down stuff.
Yes.
But it is way more powerful than anything you can do, because it's like muscle memory. And I need to get, I'm human. I need to get better at doing it too. But when I flipped through the book, I was like, this is interesting, because a lot of these things in here, it's not necessarily apparent to us in our everyday lives, because we just doing so much, and we don't really get a chance to sit down with ourselves and really say, who am I? But then what we do is we go out and build relationships with people with a version of ourselves that we don't even like. It's almost kind of like we pretending to be something, and we don't even really know what's down in there. So this is very powerful in the sense that, to me, in the sense that you really gotta sit. And some of the stuff, like in our minds, we may think is trivial until you actually start writing it down.
Oh, let me pause you there. I had a guy. He got a journal. And so he works with me. We work together. We see each other. He works nights about rotation shift. He says, man, I got to get a journal from you. I said, okay, no problem. So he got a journal. About 3 weeks passed. And so I said, well, let me check back in with my guy, make sure, see, has he started writing? So, hey, how's everything going? You started writing yet? And he had this look of bewilderment on his face. Like, I said, you hadn't got started yet. He's like, I can't. He says, man, I have been riding around with my journal day in and day out. He says, I bring it to work. I can't write. I take it home. I can't write. And it's always something. He says, I cannot get started. He says, man, the questions are so intriguing. And it's just one of those things where I cannot get started. I said, man, listen. He says, I've had it 3 weeks. I bring it to work. I look at it. I take it home. I look at it. I do everything that I'm supposed to be doing. And I cannot, get started. He says, I think I have an answer. He says, when I get ready to write something down, I can't. He says, I have a million things in my head about this question. He says, but to me, I know the answer. He says, but when I get ready to write it down, it's so many. I said, once you get started, you won't be able to stop.
Right.
And so he told me, he says, and maybe a week later, he says, man, listen, I got a problem. He says, man, I stayed up. He works night shift, gets off at 6:30. He says, man, I stayed up to about 2:00 a couple of days. And I'm writing and I'm writing and I'm writing. He says, man, this has been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal. Once you get started, like you said, it's not natural because a lot of us have stopped writing down feelings, since love letters or since poetry back in high school. You don't get it out. So your interpretation is absolutely spot on.
And the other thing is, here's the real deal is a lot of people have never written anything down or even took the time in their whole lives. 50 years old, they never really looked at
my mother, my father.
So there's never a bad time to start figuring out who you are. And some of the things that you write down based on these questions, it may pull some emotions out of you, but that's the point, right? Yeah. You gotta live and deal with the emotions, good and bad, and learn how to kind of navigate your life. And that's why when I titled this, just about communication in general, it's so. And I mentioned this earlier, but I'm saying it again because somebody on here need to hear it. You cannot effectively welcome people into your life and expect for them to know what to do, and you don't even know what to do. So my next question for you is, what made you come up with the name Hello Black Man?
It started with a place of comfort. I felt like that saying hello is so inviting. It's one of those things that when someone says hello, I think your defense mechanisms immediately drops. It's different than saying, what up? The head nod,
Mm-hmm.
How you doing? How you doing? Is sometimes and it makes you answer questions, maybe petty conversation. Like you don't really want to know how I'm doing. Like, it's just one of those things people say and they may not really mean. But when someone gives you a genuine hello, it just feels so inviting. It feels like, okay, we're on the same page. No matter where you are, no matter what situation you're in, somebody says, hello. So you're like, okay, I can talk to this person. This person I can open up to. This person, may have my best interest at heart. Just saying hello, I think it is so kind, so warm, so welcoming, and it just drops that door. It drops that defense mechanism. And I think in our community, the door is closed starting out. The fence is high starting out, especially when you're talking about getting to know somebody. So right. I wanted to at least drop all those things first before you got into it. Just hello. So now a person just reading it, they get a sense of hello. Okay, hello. It has a great feel to it. And then this actually was put out there, created and launched in November of last year. So right at the 1 year anniversary. And it was before, right before, I guess, the entire world shut down for COVID,
right?
And a lot of the racial tension flared up. So I already had it, it was already instilled. I said, I want to speak to someone who looks like me. I want to speak to a black man, and so it feels powerful. Just to say the words black man, it has a powerful feel to it. So now You know, you drop some barriers, you've opened the door, your defense mechanism is down, and now I'm going to build you up, empower you. And now we can get started on your journey.
Yeah. So look, what I'm gonna do. You see, the wheels are spinning. I'm coming up with this stuff on the fly. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this one comment, and then I'm gonna come back. Because what I want to do, if you don't mind, is I want to do I just want to take 2 questions out the book, just so people can kind of know the type of things that's in here. The Balancing Act radio show says that's real talk right there. Hello is a very disarming word. 100. It's kind of like asking someone how their day is going when they're not used to someone asking. Verbal acknowledgement matters. So very true. So I am going to pick at random. Okay.
Okay.
The first one that I flipped to, it says, "Hello, black man. Discuss your credit score. Talk about maintaining a good credit score and what you are currently doing to monitor and improve your scores." People will not believe how many people don't have this conversation in their household or even with themselves to even figure it out. We just floating.
Huge.
We're floating. And so to prompt someone who may not necessarily even be thinking about it to actually write it down, in some cases they might not even have anything to write down, but it's like a memory jogger. Like it's like, okay, whoa, maybe I do need to figure this out.
Right.
And before I get to the second one, hello, black man. It's something like we just talked about. It's something that we would, in passing, say to another black man. But the power in this book, in the title, it's like I'm saying it to myself too.
You're speaking to yourself.
You're speaking to yourself, and I have to, and because a lot of us are just lost up here every day with all of this stuff going on, and for me to sit down and say, "Who are you? Hello, black man. How are you doing today?" To yourself. And then you get to live in those emotions and try to figure out what that means. We talk about emotional intelligence on this show all the time, about just being able to understand those emotions. In this book not only gets you to be able to write down stuff, but it lets you kind of get to it really digs into some things that you need. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just randomly flipping. I don't even know where it's gonna end up. So this next one says, "Hello, black man. Can you explain how your parents showed you love and how they showed love to one another, or where you first learned what love looked like?" That one right there. If people really looked at that, it would paint a picture of how your whole relationship and dating and just how you love other people, it comes from a place that we don't even realize it. Because we so self-centered and thinking about us. The way that they raised you and the environment that you came in, good or bad, influenced your decisions.
It does. These questions are questions that are so, I'm telling you, it is so impactful, and it will take you back. I've had interviews. I did a radio interview maybe 6 months ago, and the guy, and this is a manly man, grown man. He said when he read the first question, he says, "Wow, I got tears in my eyes." He says, because the answer means so much to me. He says, and I know for sure I've never spoken a word of it to anyone I know. He said, I've never been totally honest about this question. And he's like, man, I need to write it down, and I'm gonna give it to my daughter. I want my daughter to see what I've been through, or something that has impacted me this much. He says, but he says, I've been holding it in my whole life.
So it's so many things going through my head right now. If you guys know, a couple weeks ago, I did a show about men and men's emotions and how we're probably just as emotional as women, but we kind of mute it down. And this book makes us men go into a territory that we're not used to. And that's why it's so powerful. If you're able to get over yourself and answer these questions, it then starts to build even more of a character, and it helps you be able to deal with your family different and everybody around your environment. Once you're able to dig in and actually acknowledge a lot of this stuff, you become something else. So I see another comment here. Michelle Ford from Facebook said that's a major one right there. How did your parents show you love, and how did they show love to one another? Wow. Yeah, we don't think about this, right? We don't think
it's not going to come up in day-to-day conversation. I'm not going to tell my daughter, say, hey, listen, growing up, my mom wasn't a hugger. My mom did this, or she was very firm on this. That's not the normal conversation with my teens. Is, hey, turn the phone off. Hey, clean up. Hey, take a bath. Hey, brush your teeth. Hey, let me see your grades. Hey, no, that costs too much. Hey, no, you can't have money for that. Hey, yeah, you can have money for this. That's your daily routine. That's life.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of going down this interstate of life quickly, and those exits of real conversation, of real communication, a lot of them just get passed by. And what I did not want to happen is I did not want anyone to have to put words in my mouth on this day or any other day beyond me being here. My goal is to have an answer key for my significant other, my mother, my kids. Say, hey, this is how I feel about this subject. Hey, this is my answer on this subject. One of the things that I try to do is, as I'm writing, here's a copy of my journal you can see here, and that's what it should look like. I've gotten pictures of journals where you couldn't even see the page, where it's just complete chaos, which is wonderful, because that person has been holding so much in, and now they are trying to, figure themselves out. Kind of like a video game. You're playing a video game and you have to unlock certain things. The character already has those tools or ability, but you have to do certain things just to unlock the ability. And I think this is what this journal provides that is so unique. And I think I just feel like it is a breath of fresh air, and it could be for millions of us just to get started. This a spark.
Absolutely. Somebody answered it. Effective marketing and networking answered it for you, but I'm gonna ask this question that Spin City asked on Facebook. Is there a question that you wish you could have added if you had the chance to the existing version?
Something I guess one of the things that I just an affirmation of self-love, what I love about me. And it's okay. People think that love is not ego, it's not self-centric, but you have to love yourself. You have to have some love for who you are, the things you've been through, and be able to express it. Say, hey man, I've been through this. I love this about me. I love this about me. I did not give up on this situation, or I moved on from that situation. That's the type of things that I think that, if I could have added one more line, one more page, it would have been an affirmation just for everything positive that you are and that you've overcome.
Right. And that's very important. So what we're going to do, because I'm going to assume that this book inspired a line of books,
Yes.
and we are going to hop over the line one by one, and we're just going to talk about what inspired you to do each one. So the first one, because the majority of my audience are women, you have Hello Black Woman.
I do.
And I want you to talk about why you decided to kind of deviate from the Hello Black Man, which is strong, to Hello Black Woman. And we all need help with figuring out ourselves and communication. But what made you, as a man, say, you know what, I think I need one for women too?
Yeah. Two immediate things. I have a mother who's very unique in communication. She's very straightforward, but she is not overly affectionate. It's just not who she is. And my mother loves me. That I don't want to, put it out there that my mom don't love me and I don't love her. But that is her being. It is who she is. And I felt like I had so much opportunity to get to know her at this stage in her life. She's very active, very smart. She hadn't lost a beat. And I have a 16-year-old daughter. And so figuring out where she is right now and what she knows and how I can communicate better with her and how I can somehow be in the middle of knowing my mother better and allowing that to help me out with understanding my daughter and what she's going to grow up and how she's going to see things and envision things and bridging some gaps. Because I will say this, I will say 20, 30 years ago, you knew if a mother was in the kitchen or going to do certain things, the daughter would be right behind them. It would be a group of young women doing whatever, if it's church, if it's activities, whatever it may be. That is the times changing. I'm not going to say people just broke away from it, but opportunity to do so many other things allow people to kind of spread and go in separate directions. So now people are in the same household for days, weeks, hours for sure, with no real verbal communication, no real, hey, mom, I want to ask you something. And the mom and daughter have, those hours and hours of conversation, of understanding, of I understand why you think that, but I think this way. I want to bring some of that back. I want to reignite some of that conversation and reignite some of that transformative relationship building. And that's where the Hello Black Woman came in. And I have a sister that she's about 10 years older than I am. So when I was just getting into, 10, 11 years old, she lived in the house. So we never had that buddy, sister brother relationship. And so, I need to get to know her. There's no point where people you love and people you care about, you can say, I know it. I don't need to know anything else about this person. I think it's a great opportunity right now for me to get some answers from my mom, that some things that I need to know about her and why she feels a certain way. And now I know it. Now I don't have to guess. I think my mom feels this way. I think my mom feels that way about that. It's just been an absolute, I guess, it's been transformation for me. I'll give you one quick example. We were going through the Channel One Live, and I wanted to know about careers. One of the questions about careers. And when I was growing up, my mom worked in a chicken plant. She worked at a Sanderson farm, Miss Golden. And that's the only 9-to-5 job my mom ever had. And I started thinking, I said, well, now at 17, 18 years old, that was not my mom's goal. Her goal was not to work in a chicken plant her entire life to provide for, me and my sister. So I said, I've never asked my mom what did she want to be when she was growing up. Because she had to have aspirations. That's what young kids have.
Right.
And so I found out at 41 years old that my mom wanted to be a flight attendant. She felt like that was the coolest job. She could go and meet people, do things. My mom is very militant. I said, Mom, that would have been perfect. Like that would, your dream job fits you to a T. But I'm 41 years old. Me and my mom talk literally every day about football, basketball, church, about work, about kids. But me finding out something that intricate about my mom at this age of our lives, I think it is so impactful. I think it is absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things that I learned about how we communicate, even with our kids or family members or friends, we always tend to get responses that talk about what I did, but not how I felt. Right? And the how I felt part is important because it gives context to where you were at that point in time. Because I had a conversation with my grandfather before he passed years ago, and he literally broke down everything that he did that was major in his life from like high school until he was an adult, and he was like, this is what it was. You know, I did this and that, and this is how I felt, and I just, you know, and I was just like, we don't do that. We don't sit and learn, especially from those that are older than us. We just kind of
locked out. It's locked out. We're missing so much. We're missing so many keys, man. And they're right there. They're right there.
And even you know, and then it spills over to our kids.
Yes.
And then it's like a cycle, and we really never get to the meat, especially men. Especially men when we're talking to our sons and our daughters, and they're looking at us, you know, to learn. And you should be able to say, I wasn't feeling good that day, or I was hurt that day, and that's why I made that decision. We kind of keep it, don't worry about it, so they don't get to see us being emotional. But, right. So it's almost, it's like, it's putting them at a deficit to grow up into an adult who does the same thing.
Right. We're trained, especially as men. I know we're on the women's book, but we are trained from birth to disavow a lot of communication. We are taught to not express emotion, not express communication, to forego. Don't worry about it. It'll be okay. Like, that's not therapy. Like, that is not a real answer. That's not okay. For me to be able to tell my son the first time I got my heart broke and said, man, it hurts so bad. Like, I didn't want to eat. I cried. I had this feeling. I avoided her. I did all these things. That is the kind of information my son needs. So when he has his first heartbreak, he can handle it. He can say, man, my dad went through the same thing, and he toughed it out. And he had this. We had an instance here around my area where a young man and young woman were dating, early high school. They broke up. He flipped out. Incidents happened. Some bad things happened, and it's just unimaginable to me now because I was able to handle it. But everyone has a different path, right, or can handle different things. So I want to be able to tell my sons, hey, listen, when this happens, man, it's going to be painful. When this happens, it's going to be one of those things where you're not going to be able to eat. You're not going to want to, you can't even put your clothes on right. Like, you're not going to be able to ride your bike, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Those are the conversations that need to be had, especially through written communication. Something right, that my grandchild can say, hey, my old man Jamie had some answers for me. Here they are.
Yeah, it's definitely time to realize that we need to pass the baton, not just on money and all this other kind of stuff, but how we feel about things.
That money will get blown through. You can have the greatest of intentions. It's going to get blown through. It's a very good chance. It's a very, very good chance that money is going to be spent on whatever is going to be spent on.
Yeah.
But to have an answer key, for my daughter to have an answer key from my mother, for me to leave something for my son, some wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, I think is priceless.
Yeah. And also, just to talk about the women's book before we move on to the next one, and I guess it kind of, what I'm about to say kind of goes for both, and then I'm going to ask you a question. But a lot of the questions in this book, and I'm always an advocate for, counseling, therapy, and all that stuff, right? But, and I'm thinking about this right now. If there's topics in this book, once you all get the book, because y'all can get the book, is the things that make you cringe, the things that are the hardest, gut-wrenching, emotional things, that's where you need to focus on healing.
Yes.
And that's why I like guided, prompted journals and things that will prompt you, because if you just left me to my own devices, it would never happen. But
No,
yeah,
it'll be all fluff. It'll be
yeah,
all great day. Stopped at Walmart, ate a cheeseburger. The day was okay. That's it.
right,
That's all you're gonna write.
yeah,
You're not gonna dig into these things. You're not gonna
yeah,
dig deep to answer a question that you've never written down. You've never talked to this about this problem to anyone, and now you're forced to really dig into it.
yeah. We're out here living our lives like it's a real live Instagram story. It's like little. We're not gonna tell you too much. We're gonna give you little chunks, and then we're gonna drop the
That's
mic, go
it.
to bed, and do it again the next day. And we never really get to any depth. And that is, at least like it's a life lesson. But like for my audience, we talking about relationships and dating and communication and hurt and trauma and all this other kind of stuff. If you never, and I said this probably a couple times on this show, if you never take the time to dig, you go like the 99% of the issues and the problems come from us not being able to communicate effectively and not
Yes.
knowing who we are to be able to react to things in a way that, has an outcome that doesn't look crazy. And then you
Yep.
keep saying, why do I keep meeting the same guy? Why do I keep making the
Your
same?
communication is
And
the
it's
same.
like,
Communication is the same. That's it. You're speaking the same language, and the same people are listening to the same language. They're looking for the same language.
so Hello Black Woman
Mhm.
caters more towards where a woman's mind is, and things that are catered more towards how women think. And that was important across, because I looked at some of the excerpts from the other books too. They speak to how that demographic is thinking, like what's top of mind. So we're going to skip over now to, and like I told you before, I'm going to couple the next one because they're kind of close. You have Hello Black Child, and you have Hello Black Teen. Is it Teen?
Mhm.
And I think the teenage
Child.
one, I think the excerpt that I saw said something with the cell phone or something. It was something where you knew that's where the teenagers were gravitated towards it more. So a lot of thought went into that.
Yes. Like I said, these are, I guess, kudos to what life brings to a person. But I have two teams. I have two experts into what they're going through every day, and to what cycles they have mentally, physically. So I had two experts to bounce things off of, to ask them, and if they could answer them quickly, okay, that's nothing. What about this? Dad, I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. Okay, that's something you need to think about. Let's work on that question and work on the wording of it from that standpoint. Just quickly with the teens, it's about a generation that I think we need to be honing in on from a communication standpoint. Start them to writing, start them to pushing communication and being able to communicate verbally, non-verbally, and being able to express themselves. And people have the notion that these are the laziest people on the planet. That's kind of one of the overblown things that people just say, just opinions. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I'm a fan of teens right now. I'm so glad I'm not a teen in today's age. I am so glad. I am, my goodness, man. I tell you what, I said, God had a plan. I could not handle the mental stress, how they are on, how brutal they can be on social media. Oh my God, I can't. I'm. People say I don't care what nobody say. Yes, but that's because you have not been attacked 24 hours a day. Memes and pictures taken, sound clips and video. People can literally ravage a person, literally take a person down through there, just from bullying, cyberbullying. Man, I couldn't because I was a class clown. I like having fun. nothing meant a whole lot to me, and I can't imagine me doing those things now and then having that stuff out there for the next 60 years. I can't. The stuff I had fun doing in school, it stayed in the room. It stayed in that room. If I was dancing or clowning, that's where it was. If I was, cursing amongst my friends, I wouldn't have to worry about somebody recording and taking to somebody and taking it showing to my mom
Right.
and principals. It's different. It's a different ball game. A teen today can make a mistake, could overdrink, overparty, overdo something, and make some bad decision, and it absolutely ruined their life.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have to deal with that. I promise you we did. We did. It was talked about here, talked about in your small town. 6 months later, 2 years later, nothing. It wasn't one of those things that could be brought up and refreshed, every, 30 seconds, shared and passed on. A fight happened. It happened. You just had to remember who got the fight, and that was it.
Yeah.
So that's where I wanted to give the teens an avenue strictly for that demographic, what they're going through, what they see, what their views are from politics to love, because you will be so surprised at how many teens have very strict views on things, and their parents have never asked them. That doesn't mean you're a bad parent. It doesn't. It just means this conversation has not been had yet. But if these questions will prompt some things that I promise you will reveal some things about you, your team, and maybe a huge disconnect on, hey, I know how I feel. I've taught my son the same thing. I taught my daughter the same thing. I'm sure they feel the same way. They may have a stark, different approach to some things you feel like have been passed down already. And so you're like, oh, wait a minute, it's something different here. It's okay to have your own thoughts and opinions. So that's where the teen is. On the child, I wanted to go for creativity and imagination, because I want every child that looks like me to have that ability to believe in anything, believe they can go anywhere, believe they can do anything, doctor, lawyer, president, whatever. And a lot of times I feel like our kids get put in boxes in school, get put in boxes by their peers, get put in boxes by their parents. Their parents are in a certain situation, so you need to get your head on straight. You need to be thinking about, that's a good job right there, right next door. That's a good job. Like, your child wants to be an engineer. Your child wants to, build cars. Your child wants to, know how airplanes work. And you are suffocating. You are cutting that creativity off at 8 years old. And you are, pounding it in that child's head. You ain't smart enough to do this. You're not smart enough to do that. It happens every day. And so it also allows a child to write some things out. So there are some questions in here put on purpose about bullying, or if something inappropriate is happening. These questions will prompt, if you allow this child to be free and write. How is school? Tell me, your favorite class. Tell me your least favorite class. And if that child says, my least favorite class is gym because I don't like this and this happens, that child is giving you some information that you really need to be honing in on.
Is the child one the one that has, like, I think one of the pages has like circles where you put in like a person? That's the one, And you talk about how you feel about that particular person. I think that's what I saw.
Let's see if I can find it. Yep. It's like I say, it's one of those things where it prompts so many things. And if you allow a child to be truthful and honest and open, a child will tell you a lot about what they see. I'll tell you a lot about what they hear, a lot about, at 8, 9 years old, what they are privy to. That you don't ask them every day, so they're not going to just bring it up. But now they have a ability to just kind of write it down. And you have the ability to check behind it.
Yep. So we're going to start going on the downslope now, but we got one last one.
Okay.
I saved that one for last on purpose. Hello, Black Couple.
Hello, Black Couple.
Now tell me what made you think to do this particular one.
Because I felt like, as I'm an advocate of Black love, I'm an advocate of finding someone to share things with. Like I say, as far as I know, we only doing this thing one time, and so to have someone for you to know and for them to know you, I think it is beyond a blessing and beyond an opportunity to grow within yourself. And so I think, as far as a man needs to know himself, a woman needs to know himself. But if you are paired with somebody and you're trying to build something with someone, I think knowing them, really knowing them, not knowing your goals, not knowing, hey, we have a goal to pay this off, we have a goal to go here for vacation, but to know the inner workings of a person that you are, around, your lifetime, hopefully, or for whatever period of time, for them to know who you are and for them to know who you are and you to know them, I think it is immeasurable on what it could do for a relationship.
Yeah. So, um, I want you to talk briefly about, before we get out of here, I want you to talk briefly about, how do I want to say this? And you may be able to even give an example of a page out of Hello Black Couple, but
Okay.
the kind of how it speaks to the couple and the kind of the tone of how the book is. Like, I think one of the pages I looked at, it had like, you had to write something out on one. It was like two sides you had to write. I think maybe one partner had to write on the other side or something like that. Explain the how this book works.
So the book has both activities and journal prompts. So I want couples to do things together, and a lot of times people do, they have it, they're in their own world and they don't share the information they have, even if they do things together. It never is revealed how they truly feel. So I just went to a random page, and this is a lovely couple that I know, been knowing my whole life, is one of my mentors' parents. Um, and this page is about commitment. This little small insert. It says, "Trust is the foundation of our marriage." It's something that they wrote, going to write in. And so this activity is watch a movie together, write your reviews about the movie. So it forces a person to, one, you watching the movie together, you're intrigued, and now this person gets to reveal how they truly feel about the movie. Because now, guess what? If you go to the movie with your wife, your significant other, how you like the movie? Oh, it was all right. It
Right.
was okay. It was all right. It was chill. And if your significant other really likes it, you're more prompt to say, yeah, it was pretty good. It was all right. You could
Mm-hmm.
Now here's your chance to be honest. I hated that movie. It sucked. I did not like the. Now here's an opportunity to say, oh, really? You didn't like the movie? Tell me more. And now that person gets to know why you didn't like the movie without
Mm-hmm.
interrupting you. Because if you tell me you didn't like my favorite movie, oh, let's argue. You don't like this. You don't like nothing I like. That can happen. So
Right.
so now
Yeah.
you will stand back from giving an honest opinion, say it was good, it was all right, like, yeah, right. And so I want this to be an opportunity to an open space. So the next question is it's a double page. So one partner writes on one side, the other partner writes on the left. This particular question is, hello, Black couple, partner one. What are some of your pet peeves? Describe them in detail and discuss why they bother you. So people have pet peeves. People have, you leave the light on, you do these things, you do these things. And some of these things are done, naturally by one person, and it aggravates, the heck out of another person. But it just aggravates them. They never reveal those things in writing or say, hey, let's talk about this thing. You leave the bathroom light on. You're up at 6. I'm up at 7. Why are you leaving the light on? It aggravates me to no end. So here's an opportunity for you to write those things out and for some things to get corrected.
Right.
That's the goal of the book. write things out, see some opportunities, and to jump on those things and to get them fixed.
So we are going to wrap this up. We almost at an hour. So this was good dialogue, though. What I want you to do now, if you have anything that you want the audience to know, and then also tell them how they can find you online, or even if it's just the website, let them know if that's where they can get you at. But just kind of give them some last little tools, nuggets, or anything you want to say to depart with. Okay.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, been phenomenal. The podcast has been phenomenal. Derek has been a wonderful. Glad to be a part of this movement that he has. From a Hello Black Man standpoint, what I want you to do is give yourself an opportunity to use this tool. Give yourself an opportunity. There is no occasion that this tool can't be used in. None whatsoever. If this is divorce, marriage, birthday party, Christmas gift, birthday, whatever it may be, Valentine, it's a perfect gift for a person to get to know themselves and to show that you care about who they are. My Facebook page in 1 year, 1 year anniversary is right at 12,000 followers.
Wow.
So if you're on Facebook, go to Hello Black Man. You can scroll to community and invite some of your family to be my family. I'm on Instagram at Hello Black Man Journal. I'm on Twitter at HBM Journal. And we're firing up our YouTube channel right now at Hello Black Man. To get a signed copy of the journal, if you get a signed copy, it'll be signed by me. It'll also give a personal message from myself to you. No one else will have it. And just about some things I want you to do as you're going through your journal. You also get a couple of wristbands and a pen if you go through the website, helloblackman.com. If you're an Amazon lover, you love Amazon, all the journals on Amazon, type my name in on Amazon, Jamie Jenkins, and all the journals will come up. And it's one of those things that I feel like transparency and communication in our community will be so much more profound if we start, if the listeners here, if we start the movement. We can go down the scale. Someone has to start the road. We can push down to our child, to the children, to the teens, and we can push up to our parents that are still coherent and moving and able and in their right minds, get some things from them. We can be the generation that makes this movement start.
Absolutely. I normally have a whole bunch of stuff to say, but I think you sold it up this time, sir. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we are going to end the podcast portion. Thank you, Jamie, for coming on and letting us know about everything you have to offer and all of the tools and the nuggets that you gave us tonight. I appreciate you, sir. And you know, we'll have you back again because I'm sure you got some stuff coming down the pike, too.
I do. I absolutely do.
So on that note, guys, just make sure that you continue to go to www.relationshipgumbo.info and get all your information from there. Go to helloblackman.com. You get all the stuff you need to get from there. And we're going to get out of here. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week, same time, same place.
Thanks.
All right, the podcast portion is over. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here, and we will see you next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. Have a great evening.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derek Jones the host, your relationship